All right, welcome planning board session, May 22nd. Minutes, everybody have an opportunity to read minutes? Any questions, additions, changes? Motion to approve the minute. Kathy? Me? Thank you. All in favor? Great. We had one work session this week, the Amazon ABI building. Anything scheduled for the next one?
Not yet.
Okay. First up on our list, amended RHF high tech for finalizing the whole process on parking.
So good evening, Greg Strummer representing Feldmeyer. As you may have heard, the EDA did approve our variance. So now it is back in front of you for questions, comments, and thoughts. And plans. As previously stated, really the only thing that's changed on the site is the reduction in the parking. Otherwise, stormwater is the same. Parking, traffic circulation is the same. So nothing has changed on the south side of the building, and nothing has changed here. The only change was we took out the parking that was banked there and the parking that was banked up there. That parking up there has its own stormwater system, so that kind of just went away with the parking in this plan. And this one here had the capacity over here for this stormwater through here and there. The RPZ is in now, so that's out of the way finally. And what took so long? I have no idea.
Any other questions on, we thought this through or through with CBA? Other questions? Motion to approve the site plan dated March 25th, 2025 with the following findings and conditions. A revised site plan was approved for this site on June 13th, 2024. The approval allowed for construction of 71,250 square foot addition and a 10,599 square foot addition to the site. The construction for those additions are underway. The approval of June 13th, 2024 determined a required total parking count of 420 spaces. And the plan showed 111 spaces to be built west of the existing 205 space parking lot as part of the approval. The balance of these 104 parking spaces was to be placed in reserve between the existing building and Old Thompson Road. The applicant came before this board for an amended site plan which intended to seek relief from the number of parking spaces, 1 required in total on the site and 2 to be placed in reserve. This board has heard from the applicant relative to their current and proposed use for the site. This board sent a positive recommendation to the zoning board of appeals for a variance to permanently reduce the number of parking spaces required on the site. That resolution and the findings therein are incorporated by reference herein. The zoning board of appeals granted a variance that reduces total required parking spaces to 273 spaces, where the code requires 420. We want to add the date of that approval?
We can.
Just add the date, so we'll add the date of that approval. The 19th. Considering the prior findings of this board relative to the justified parking needs of the applicant, this approval hereby further approves that 25% of the required 273 parking spaces be placed in reserve and do not need to be built at this time. This is made the further finding that said reserve parking is not currently required to be built. The plan shows that the reserve can reasonably be built should it be required in the future. Accordingly, the approval of reserve is made with the condition that the Department of Planning and Zoning or the Planning Board may require the parking be built when the same is deemed necessary or desirable for the current or future use of the site. This approval is made with the further condition that, except as specifically modified herein, Planning Board approval of June 13th, 2024 is in full force and effect. Modified. With that,
Sounds good.
school approves. So, Jen, all in favor? And Vote yes. All in favor, good, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
Have a wonderful evening.
You wanna just, Nate, you sign yours quick, then we can send Greg with this.
When are you gonna be done?
I think they're thinking end of June, early July, they're gonna get their. These temporary CO at that point.
The factory floor was still running at the same time as construction though?
Yes, yeah, it actually was planned from day one, when we did it so that they could keep operations. And actually the wall in between the two of them had certain cutouts planned so that, they could leave that wall and they wanted to leave it for sound and that sort of thing, that anyways, so. Yeah, they were able to continue construction throughout the whole process.
Great,
Thank you very much.
Thanks,
thank you.
Thank you.
Greg. Next up, we have LA Painting EV Charger, applicant online. Is there anyone here to represent LA Painting?
Yes, how you doing? Chad Mutter here with Primetime Business Solutions.
Welcome.
Chad, what's your last name?
Mutter, Mutter.
Thank you.
Okay, the floor is yours. This is a concept presentation for installing 2 dual port level 2 charging stations.
Yep, correct. I think I came to you guys maybe like a year ago, pretty much the same thing over at Marzullo Electric. We're going to install 2 dual port charging stations level 2. They're going to be 50 amp per port. So it'll be 4 stations, or basically 4 stations on a pedestal that will be able to charge 2 cars at once. All right, so it'll be 4 parking spots total going over here at LA Painting.
Let's see, who's controlling the screen right now? This is your presentation, so just ask her to advance as you see fit.
Okay, yep, so we're gonna have 1 dual port in the front of the building on the left-hand side there, and then we're going to have 1 in the middle of 2 parking spots on the side of the building. And we are going to existing service to a inside panel. It's gonna be a 400 amp 3-phase panel.
Okay,
Okay, yeah, you can slide up. Yeah, these are just the prints of the engineering prints that you guys requested. Just shows the front of the building, the charger sitting there next to the 1 car. They'll be able to charge both cars if the empty space is there. So it'd be 2 cars there charging at once, if available. And then the other charger will be able to charge 2 cars on the side of the building there. So it'll be 2 plugs. Yep.
I don't think those cars are electric.
Well, you know.
They're electric. Okay. So let's, open up questions. I think we'll want to talk about site circulation, where some of these are located, protection, etc. Can we go back to the site plan?
So the picture doesn't show the 2 bollards that will be sitting in front of the charger as well for protection. So there'll be 2 bollards protecting it.
Yeah, that was gonna be one comment.
For both chargers.
Yeah, so the ones in front, the station in front would serve 2 parking stalls that are there.
Yep.
Effectively, you need 4. The issue that we have is that those, what you're calling parking spaces parallel along the side of the building,
Yes.
are not actually parking stalls. So you cannot put something there and encourage people to park there. Parallel parking is not allowed within the town.
Okay,
So we gotta look at other options for location, whether it is, I mean, right now is it a one-way loop? That you drive kind of on the left
It's-
side
no.
around the building and come out?
it's actually, you can get 2 cars down, so it'd be a two-way there. If you don't like the way I have it situated where the drawing, I can also put them in the back of the lot as well. There's about 15 parking spots back there or so.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably another option. I know, the one along the side of the building just won't work. We can't have people parking there. They're not actually legal parking stalls. So if you need to have 2, the other option is to do them in the front.
But he can't, so you're telling me he can't park his commercial vans there to charge?
Technically, no.
Okay. I'll have to let him know that, because that's where he wanted to park his vans.
Yeah, parallel parking is not allowed. It would not count towards parking counts or be approved on a site plan.
Okay. I can move those 2 spots to the back of the building then.
Okay,
So that's an easy fix for me, just I'll redraw the map to show the 2 additional spots out back.
okay. And then the charger in front is actually held, there's a concrete walk, right?
Yep, it's a precast concrete pad that we build in-house with a bollard inside the concrete with rebar.
And it's held to the front, so somebody can walk behind, the concern being, cords laying on the ground, somebody tripping, I mean, that's held forward so you can walk behind it, correct?
Yep, there's retractable cords to these on the charging station, so they go right into the machine after they're done being used. So they're not being coiled, they're being retracted back into the machine.
So the way this is represented, is there a walkway like a raised curb or is that flush? The aerial photographs just looks like it's paved all the way to the building. Which one is correct?
Um,
Like that whole,
The
It
gray
is-
line,
yeah.
it's paved all the way around.
So what
so
is,
what's that gray line represent?
That just like the base of the building. It's nothing. That's just to the base of the building. I'm going to be putting a concrete pad in the middle of that parking spot there. So right in between on the center line of that parking spot, I'm going to put it right dead center on it. So there's going to be still a walkway behind that charging station.
Does that minimize the size of the parking space?
No, I'm just gonna put a dead center on top of the on the center line of that parking spot. It's not going to minimize that parking space, or is it going to be in the way of the walkway?
There is a little walkway there.
Yeah, so as it currently exists, there is a parking stall plus. We'll call it the concrete sidewalk. That gray that you're seeing there right now, you're not impacting the. Parking stall dimensions as
No.
they exist right now.
You're
No, I'm not.
So I think that we actually need to see a drawing with the pad drawn on it and the correct sidewalk, because looking at the images online, it doesn't appear to have a sidewalk like you're showing there. If that is there, we just need the correct dimensions of everything in your pad.
If I heard him,
What he said.
if I heard him correctly,
Putting
he's,
it in the center line of the parking
is
spot,
a
which
strip
takes up
there.
and minimizes the width of the parking lot spot.
There is
I think-
a strip
yeah.
behind the parking spaces.
right, so I think he's putting it on the center line, but behind the white line, so it doesn't impact the parking dimensions.
Correct.
So
What I
then
heard-
it will be on the walkway, so you have to walk up over this pad.
No,
Walk behind.
I think it's misrepresented, if I'm hearing him correctly, it's misrepresented in the drawing, there is
So
no
it looks
concrete
like
pad,
this.
it is paved directly up to the building. They will be installing a small flush concrete pad to put the charger on in this location with 2 bollards to protect it.
Right, and it will be flush with the pavement. It won't be sticking out. It'll be flush. It will be no lip on the concrete pad. It will sit flush down in the hole with the pavement.
From above. So right there, the one that you just passed, that one, can you? So can we get it drawn on this, or is that like that blow up right there?
I don't think it's, I think that's just a survey, I don't think, yeah, no, it is shown.
Yeah, so
Yeah, so as it's shown there, it's not where you would actually put it, it would slide up to be in line with that parking stripe.
Correct, yep.
Okay,
and
so
then
make
if you
that
could
change.
just show us if it doesn't have a height to it, so you're saying it's flush.
It will be flush.
So if you show that in your document, and if you also, show the width of it, just so we can see in case you're not flush.
Okay, there should be the dimensions of the pad, I believe. If you go up a little bit, it might, I believe it shows what the pad looks like, and dimensions of it.
The pad doesn't look flush in that image.
That's the way it looks going into the hole. All
I
right, so
know, but that's why your drawing should show us how it will end up though.
right, and I can send you a lot of pictures of our previous work of what it looks like flush with pavement and whatnot. But we just wanted to show you what the pad looks like with the bollard, the sign and whatnot, what the dimensions are of our concrete pad that we do install at these properties.
And then, so if you go back down to your site plan, I think adding a note there that. Pedestal mount will be flush with adjacent parking, asphalt paving, asphalt paving surface.
And
So
the depth,
then
the depth
where-
of the sidewalk.
So then,
And then-
if you're saying that it's there, where are you placing the bollards? Cause he has 2 bollards on each side of it
Right.
as well.
Yeah, I think, to Jenny's point, I think you need to blow that up a little bit.
I'm only gonna put,
Drawing in the upper right, and dimension, show where it is, dimension from the face of the building to the backside of the pedestal. Show where the bollards are, I'm assuming the bollards are probably, in line with the parking line that goes north-south. The end of the stall. So,
So there are definitely 2 bollards, cause your picture has 1 bollard.
I put 1 bollard in that concrete pad. That's how I put it. There's gonna be 2 bollards total with our concrete pad, so 2 bollards. One bollard.
So the drawings are just very inconsistent from what you're saying, so if you could correct the drawings and get them to us so they match what you're saying.
Okay,
Can you talk about if you move it to the back of the building, like the way the parking is situated on the back of the building where it's not up against the building, where would you put the charger?
Yeah, thank you so much.
we're gonna dedicate 2 parking spots back there. Where there's a line of cars sitting back there, and then there's a panel on the back side of that building that will be running through.
Is that your existing site plan that was approved previously, or?
it's just a sensor, right?
I don't know that they've ever been here
Oh, okay, okay, yeah.
in the last 25 years, probably.
So the charger would be a pedestal over by the parking spaces, or it would be on the wall of the building?
Question.
Thank you.
Can you pull up the photo?
It sounded like he was gonna put it between parking
Not the photo,
stalls,
not the,
1 and 2 through 12. That's what I was understanding, right?
Yeah, I was gonna,
The stalls along the back property line. So
Yep,
you
and
just wanna make sure that their parking space is not impacted at all, and that you still have the full 9.5 by 19 feet.
Mhm.
It
Yep.
looks like you're lacking some of the
Yeah,
length there.
I would also recommend that parking in the back is striped. A little Wild West back there right now.
yeah, I can get pictures out there tomorrow and take a look at what parking stripes they have back there, if there is any. And once we get our work done, we can restripe these parking spots. Seal and stripe.
Back up onto the road. Like how the parking.
Yeah, but that's just a normal condition in that area.
Yeah.
I thought we concluded these lines are all skewed from
Yeah, it's
Yes.
probably.
Yeah, the whole thing shifts over this way and down.
the charging stations on the front of the building, so you're also gonna trench the pavement in order to run the feed.
It's gonna be yeah, it's gonna be a straight shot into the building there.
But all underground at that point.
Underground, yes, sir.
So is it completely different feed in the back?
Yeah, the panel they're gonna.
He said there's a panel in the back. But I'm looking at that picture, I don't know how that back parking lot works. It doesn't, there's no roadway. Those cars actually get.
Well, you're at a
Yeah.
little bit of an angle.
Yeah, you're
so
not
you-
seeing the road right up against the building. If
Yeah.
you look at the site plan.
Oh, okay.
There you go, yeah.
Still a little tight, but. Guess we could put them in.
If he's gonna put the charger in the property line, are there any ordinances about how close
Offset.
something can be?
I don't think there are
Like setbacks for,
chargers and stuff. I don't believe there are.
there'd be the landscape buffer, but in an existing site like this,
Oh, there is.
yeah.
It's existing, pre-existing, so. Will you just double check with parking counts and all that stuff based on use and.
Yeah.
What's there?
Yep.
There are a number that are shown that are not compliant. Sure that we're good on that one.
But what if it's efficient by removing the parallel parking?
We can make a finding that it's pre-existing
Pre-existing.
non-conforming, but let's set the baseline that we know what it is. In there.
What is the use of this building?
It's a warehouse, and it's also an office for a painting company.
How many employees do you have working in the warehouse?
I'm the contractor. I don't own the building. I'm the one installing the charging stations.
Get those.
I think he's got roughly 15, 20 employees.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? No? Alright, so I think you got some updating to the drawings to do, that you can cycle them back to
Maybe it's just.
Eric.
Okay.
Our deadline is
Next Thursday.
next Thursday. How quick can you turn this around?
Probably Monday, Tuesday.
So the deadline for the next meeting would be next Thursday.
Okay.
And if you can just convey to your client that they should call the town, talk to Eric so that we can get some of the other information cleaned up before that submission. Cause you'll need to show that on the survey and the site drawing.
Okay.
Yeah, Chad, I'll shoot you an email tomorrow with my contact info. And we'll go from there.
All right. Sounds good.
Alright,
Thank you.
appreciate it, thank you.
Thanks.
Yep. Thank you.
Next up, we have Michael Roberts Associates.
I mean, I printed out my 17 phones, you might as well pass those out. So these are, my 17, these are the full size that were submitted with the application. All along. My name's Brody Smith. I'm an attorney, Boston and King, I represent the applicant. They are proposing to, put in 5575 Thompson Road, financial advisor's office. So, right, to give you a little bit of a history of the building, and I know a lot of you are familiar with the building. It was built in 1984. It was originally the American Red Cross. And then it was in 2007, it was sold to the United Church of Christ. So it was offices for them, it was always been offices. And then it went vacant in 2020. And it sat vacant for the last 5 years. Prior to coming to your board, we went to the zoning board of appeals to secure a use variance to allow it to be used for a financial planner's office. The building itself,
Did you get that approval
the use variance was approved.
on the 19th? What was it?
Next month?
Last month, yeah, the use variance was approved. Yeah.
I do want to say that I congratulate Michael Roberts and Brody. It is the third use variance that has been issued in the last 25 years. So use variances are not granted, and it was a quite open road. But, was determined appropriate for this.
Well, we appreciate the careful consideration of the zoning board of appeals. We, we provided a lot of information. The takeaway is that this building, if you imagine this building, if the front door looks out onto the DeWitt Cleaners parking lot and you see Erie Boulevard, shopping center property across the way. So not to dwell on the use variance, but the takeaway is it just wasn't appropriate for residential development. It's in a very commercial setting. So the building itself is 4,696 square feet. It's on a 0.87 acre parcel. So the drawings I provided to you, the top is just a survey of the existing conditions. The second page is the proposed concept site plan. It's sort of got one on the right side, it's zoomed in a little closer, so you can read it. On the left side, it pulls back a little bit. On the screen here, you see elevations of the renovations that Michael Roberts proposes to take on, which will freshen the appearance of the building. They won't be drastic architectural changes, but you see there'll be new siding, new landscaping in terms of the planter boxes. If you look at the previous elevation of the north side of the building, the architect is reorienting the entryway a little bit, getting rid of some sort of tired stairs that need to go. And then freshening and reconfiguring slightly the parking lot. So that is the general plan. I also, and I know it's not as big of a concern for this board, but I included floor plans of the building, so you can see how many people are actually gonna work there. There's 4 offices for partners, 3 offices for staff and receptionists, so there'll be no more than 8 employees there. Any given time, I think their current staffing, it's a company where their offices are currently in the town of DeWitt, the current staffing is 7. So there's an extra office to grow 1. And then the rest will be conference rooms, storage, normal utility space. So I will stop there. Oh, I guess the other thing I'll say is the plan is this is a very well screened property in terms of existing vegetation. The plan is to preserve that and freshen the landscaping towards the road. But if you look at the Rudy Zona prepared the site, the concept site plan, it contemplates preserving the existing vegetative screening because there is on the rear property line residential single family use. So I'll stop there for questions.
What is the intended use of the garage? Just storage?
My understanding is a car, they could put a car there, I think. I'll have to confirm that.
I mean, you see a parking stall right in front of it, so.
Yeah,
I mean.
I can find that out. I'll confirm that. But I believe it's a functional garage as it sits now that you could put a car in.
But were there any conditions from the special use permit that
Yes, there were some conditions. The conditions included no installation of a standalone monument sign. The only signage on the building, and it's depicted in the elevations, would be a sign that is on the side of the building. Because of its relative proximity to residential uses, the applicant consented that the sign would not be backlit, that the only lighting of the sign would be from a spot from the planter. So, which is fine. This is not a business that depends on drive-by business. They don't have customers coming, they're financial advisors. Every now and then someone might come to sign a document, but it's really an office for 7 employees.
Signs. Sky.
It could be one of the focused ones, like for artwork.
I'd even be okay if it was a wall mount, that, in that case, if it was done
Yeah.
well. But yeah,
That's
That'd be fine.
actually they didn't actually make that a condition though. The condition is one attached building sign up to 50 square feet with reasonable lighting for the purpose of building identification and safety, subject to planning board approval. So there's wiggle room in there.
Yeah, so my client, quite frankly, is what I described as the conversation, and I apologize if I didn't capture exactly what got written down, but there was a concern about this sign being too, they want like a neon sign, you know what I mean? Cause it's proximity to residential, so they wanted a tasteful sign that wasn't gaudily lit, and that's what my client agreed to.
did they limit it in the office hours? Are there Monday, Friday, or is it in conditions on that?
No, I don't think there's a condition on office hours. Yeah, but we keep bankers hours there, planning office. Yeah.
The use is limited to financial services, office, nonprofit, or other professional service.
They're painting brick.
Hmm?
They're painting brick.
Yeah, well, I was just gonna ask about some of the material, because you're doing a lot of moving of windows and modifying of
Yes,
that
they're
particular facade.
Okay.
So are you matching the existing materials that are there and then painting?
Gets moisture.
It is, no, it would be a different color than it is now, right?
No, but you're moving a bunch of windows, you need to infill a wall. So you're gonna replace all the siding?
Their architect.
There's a demo
labeled any
plan.
of the elevations.
Right.
It's, they forgot to buy that package. It'd be helpful to have all those labeled.
What's that?
The elevations
Should be annotated.
annotated with materials and changes as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
So
the,
they should note on their like existing bricks to be painted, if any of the windows are being moved.
You know,
so there is a demo plan in the floor plan, you can see exactly what's been demoed and what's been demoed.
That's what prompted my question, when you look at. First floor A 0.2, the demo, you see a bunch of the windows. Demo along that,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. and then when you look at A 1.2, some windows are moved, so there's a lot of infill that's gonna happen on those walls, which is gonna change all the material there. I mean, having a building that's built in 1984, I would think you really just gonna.
You're not just gonna
Patch the
patch the
hole.
siding.
No,
I'm
so
sure it's a pretty rough shape.
we wanna kind of know what's happening with that.
You wanna know, see what materials will be used.
Whether it's being changed,
Oh,
yeah. All the colors and everything should be called out, materials called out. The full, planting plan,
Is any exterior lighting proposed in the parking lot or on the building?
Yeah, I think there would be at least for the sign, right? So we can include a lighting plan.
Yes.
Yeah.
Also, the curbing that goes along the driveway needs to be extended to be 3 feet from the edge of shoulder, and it needs to be granite. Our engineer will be providing comments, so specifics on that. Once that's extended.
Understood.
You wanna talk about that ramp?
yeah. What is the plan for the ramp? Right in front of the building, I mean, you're pulling out some of the floor, you're adding a grand staircase. kind of getting you down to the elevator is, so that's the accessible entrance. The new one right there. What's not
This is,
shown,
this is the,
Keep going, keep going.
that's the basement floor.
That's the basement.
That's correct, that's the
Yeah.
floor that we wanna talk about.
okay,
No, we wanna go to the first floor, don't we?
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
You're right.
They're set up wrong, they go like
Yeah. so
demo
A-
new,
1.1.
demo new,
yeah, there's a demo for each floor.
Yeah, 1.1, so. That will,
they go like 0.1,
It shows,
Yeah.
1.1,
it shows on that elevation.
0.2, 1.2.
yeah, that was the correct estimate. Okay, just go
the elevation
up to the
car
right.
So the other side, look at the garage. There you go.
That door and the ramp that's there. Part of the plan that they're determining is to remove the ramp, which I think runs where the planter is right now. And to straighten it out right in front of the door. Now. You don't likely have enough.
So we're
room.
talking about this spot right here.
No, to the right more, it's like right in there.
Yeah,
It's right,
okay.
right next to the garage. There's not likely enough room by code. Cause you're gonna need a landing outside that door plus the ramp to get down, so that needs to be thought out.
Okay. I can bring that to.
Yeah, essentially the code reference is in there.
Yeah.
So you're saying there's not enough space to do it this way?
Right, because you're gonna need, I think it's at minimum 5 feet off the face of the door
Okay,
with
Flat
flat pad.
landing,
2% most, and then you can have your ramp after that, and the
Yeah.
ramp's gotta be ADA compliant. And I think I don't think you have enough room right there to do that.
without coming into the parking lot, and then you would have to push your parking spaces away. Cause you can't have it go into the parking spaces.
So there's gotta be a creative solution there,
And
but they
so
need to work
He
that out.
wrote like ADA compliant ramp, but when we look at it, we need to know what that means because there's not enough space to provide an ADA compliance. We just wanna know how he's solving it.
okay.
Because they used to organize it.
That was my.
Well, that's what he said, we'll look at that, but.
Yeah, you could do.
I'll be honest, I don't, standing here now, I don't know the pitch of that ramp.
It
Yeah,
doesn't have
yeah.
enough, yeah, like us looking at it, like,
I'm not sure that perspective is accurate. But, so I'm not sure that.
so we went and looked at the
it's-
photos.
but I'll
Yeah,
find
we
out.
went and looked at the photos as well, so.
Yeah,
I mean, you have 9 feet, it looks like to walk.
yeah, I'll have to find that. Again,
And
you
I
know,
don't
these are artistic renderings. It may be a little, perspective may be a little.
So if you have 9 feet to work with and 5 of them have to be flat, you only have 4 foot of ramp, which means you only have 4 inches of elevation
Right.
change to work with.
Right.
And still be compliant.
I understand what you're saying. I'm not sure, I can't tell you right now how much the elevation change is in reality.
Yeah, I
Right,
mean.
and that's what we need.
And that goes to my next point is, PJO. They provided the survey in here, but they didn't shoot any, you know, spots on the corner of the parking lot or anything around the building, so. We got a couple of finished floor elevations and stuff that are in there. But there's not, they may wanna just update and add some spot elevations around the building.
Add the topo to the site plan.
Well, the topo's there.
Yeah.
If they want some, they should add some spot elevations, certainly around the parking area, but at the building where the building meets grade.
Okay.
That would help determine how much difference you have between the 477.44. Just theoretically, I think the ground floor, finished floor elevation with the parking lot is, we can't determine because there's no spot elevations.
Understood.
And the next set of plans that you get us with all the updates, can you make sure the architecturals are all signed and sealed?
And that'll be the first place I go when I leave here tonight, is I'm gonna go stand on that and see if it really is pitched. And I don't wanna say something to you that's not right, I'm not sure how pitched it is, so.
I don't think you'll be able to
Yeah.
tell, because I think it's
Yeah.
currently a window.
Yeah, it's not a door.
So you don't know where the finished floor is by looking at it from the outside.
Okay.
Yeah, so you don't have to waste your time going tonight.
Well, they do-
I've been there once, I just don't remember there being much of a hill there, but I understand.
And then what is is the existing sidewalk that's uphill, so coming out the second floor, that will just remain as kind of means of egress?
With the stairs.
Around the other side.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that won't be an access point to the building, this will be the main access point here.
Right, but that'll just, like I said, that'll just remain as a,
That is emergency egress.
yeah, egress, just to get out of the building and to a safe means.
Well, if they call it emergency egress, then you have to plow it all winter or clear it all winter. Don't you? I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, well, it's kind of because it is if you look at the plans, it's got the egress stair right there, so.
Oh.
You're gonna have to.
Well, let them know that if they do, and so I think they have to have the second.
There's also around that backside are some condensing units. There's a flagpole. Nice. What's the plan with that?
There isn't plans to change and you can see them on the concept plan, they're depicted. I don't think there's any plans to change HVAC. I think it's adequate.
Well, we can screen it, right? Since it's on the front yard of the building.
Yeah, I can take that to my client. I don't know that that's the side facing the street, but it could be reasonable.
Your corner lot,
Landscape.
you technically have two corners.
I think we're a little sensitive to the flagpoles.
Oh, yeah.
But also existing, right?
So you're talking about HVAC's here. That's what we're talking about, yeah.
Yeah,
You know that these stairs will go, right? You're talking about this is the emergency. egress.
Right.
Yeah,
That still leads to a stairwell that's in there. at least.
yeah, right. And so these are the existing HVAC units.
Yeah, so those should be screened.
Screen them, okay.
So for that emergency egress.
And I'm sorry, dinner, when you say screen, you mean vegetative?
Yeah, they could be landscaped.
Yeah, okay, sorry, I mean.
Yes. That pathway has to be lit, I believe, for 30 feet, well. The emergency.
egress.
Egress,
It has to be what?
lit,
Lit, okay.
which gets into some of the neighborhood issues.
Yeah, you can just do a little bollard, like, you know, bollards or something like that. But
Well, it is,
Very well.
to the extent that it's not conforming, it is existing, so if it's seen as undesirable to light it from neighbor point of view, I think an argument could be made that we don't have to.
We have a change of use, so you have to bring everything up to code.
Right. It's an office use, but I understand what you're saying. It was previously office and it's still office. I'm just saying, if you deem it undesirable, I'm not saying we're not willing to light it. I'm saying if you deem it undesirable to light it, I think
there are a lot of good low impact options.
I think there's a rational argument that would allow you not to, if you deem that desirable.
Are you planning on having any trash enclosures in the parking lot or is this?
No, I don't think there's any plan to change that.
So if you could just put a note on the plan that says all trash and recycling stored in the building.
Yes, I think.
Meaning what we're seeing there is not gonna be there any longer.
That's what I'm getting at.
Do they have old rollways in there?
But it looks like they got a little dumpster.
Yeah, there's something there. I don't know what it is.
What else?
So the lighting plan, if we are going with bollards or anything on the walkway there, represent those in the lighting plan, sign details. The curbing 3 feet from the shoulder, granite curbing.
Yep.
The stamped and signed architectural drawings. The details on the ramp and the landing area. The wall materials and whatever you're gonna infill the walls with.
See, cleaning up the parking,
Parking.
and straightening out, or straightening out the edges. Are you gonna do seal and stripe and?
I will find out, I'm not sure, I'm not sure it's required, we're definitely gonna restripe, we are restriping. I don't know if the lot requires work for resealing, but I can find that out.
We do some street trees,
So yeah,
we do some street trees.
street trees,
I mean, it's a town every 30 feet.
Okay.
Street edge, you're supposed to have,
so in the landscaping plan, follow town guidelines for street trees.
yes.
In the design guidelines.
But ask Eric which type of tree.
Yeah.
It's much easier than letting the landscaper try to find them, because half of the ones we list you can't find.
Okay, yeah, I think they expected that there's gonna be some landscape. So, I think they'll be shocked.
So in showing what's existing and to remain. So calling out trees that are greater than 6-inch DBH caliber.
So, yeah.
So calling out all the trees that are existing on the site that are greater than 6-inch.
There's
diameter
existing
red.
trees depicted on the site.
Yep, show what's there that's gonna stay and then show what you're adding, so existing and proposed.
And the big, besides what we've. Depict, you want more specificity, so you know what it is we're adding.
Exactly.
In addition, but the only thing that sort of like conceptually at this point, you're saying, in addition to that is you'd like some street trees along the road.
Along the road frontage, yep,
Okay.
basically 30 feet spaced apart.
We need to talk about buffering. Is everyone comfortable with the amount of trees in the path that are there currently?
Yeah, I think there's enough vegetative screening. I mean, I've always been impressed, like I can't see beyond that building, so.
That's what it's called.
You know, we'll say it has to stay, some of it's scrub, but you still want it to stay.
It should,
I think it's all useful.
yeah, no modifications to existing vegetation along. The rear property line.
That should be called out.
And then just showing that one corner of the site plan is cut
I
off.
gotcha.
They are allowed to sign up to 50 square feet.
There's a vertical one also on the brick that's being painted on this elevation.
The address,
They have to have.
Yes,
With the words.
they need the numeric by fire codes.
Mhm.
Thompson don't
They
necessarily.
don't necessarily
Yeah.
need the-
And does it have to be of like a color that stands out on the paint, because they have it matching the paint color?
I would think it has to be contrast and readable, it's 4-inch.
But it would be just the street number,
Not the word Thompson.
not the word Thompson.
Is a sign package required?
No. Oh,
Okay, one
Yeah,
prominently
110.
displayed building address sign that is visible to pedestrian and automobile traffic not less than 4 inches in height and with a 1/2 inch stroke, or as required by New York State Fire Code.
so with the,
That was the fire sign.
Of the fire sign, okay.
yes, yeah. But in terms of the sign should be part of the approach package.
Oh, correct.
It won't be separate, it will be in there.
That's town code section
The number on the side of the building
192,
and posted,
Oh, just a word.
the number on the side of the building,
The-
is it really visible from the street?
Yeah.
You could also reference the fire code, basically our town code is saying what.
When you see it, it's.
Right, is that visible from the street, because that is like the non-street side of the building that vertical one is on,
It should be right on the street.
like. You know what I mean,
You
that.
can see that coming on one.
Right.
You can only see that
Direction.
in one direction. Yeah, so, yeah. If you're saying you want
Like
to
the fire stations.
put it around the other side.
I know.
There may be room to bring it over to this side, if you're saying make more sense.
I think so.
Over here instead of here.
The front doors side. That makes sense too.
Yeah, then it like doesn't look good with the other sign, I think, but,
If you're just reducing it to a number, it may not be so bad.
right. Yeah, I would just say, you know, you want the fire truck to know where to go.
Fair.
Anything else? Do compile a list of comments and
Yeah, I'll send you out some comments.
wonderful,
Thank you for your time.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's a bit.
All right, anything else? Motion closed. Kathy, Kevin.
Oh, yeah, where's?
Kevin's not here, isn't he at home?
Oh, that's right,
Yeah.
Second. Still second.
Yeah, they-
Great. Closed.